How's it going, y'all? Conrad Sports Cards here. I'm going to be talking to you guys about a sport that we actually have yet to cover on this page, and that is going to be football, and why you should be investing in it either now or in the upcoming weeks. Let me explain. So the football season just ended, and Tom Brady got his 7th Super Bowl ring, which is, of course, very impressive. And so now that the season is over, a lot of people are going to be shifting their focus from football to baseball and basketball, right? However, in the words of the great Chris House of Jordans, we should zig when other people zag, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing here with this investment. So, football is a bit more risky to invest in during the season for a couple of reasons, right? The first of those, and the biggest of those reasons, being that it is a very team-reliant sport. If you watched the Super Bowl, you'll understand what I mean, right? Patrick Mahomes had no time to make decisions because he was constantly under pressure because his offensive line was not giving him enough protection. The wide receivers could not catch any of the balls he was throwing them, and the defense had more holes than Swiss cheese, I like to say, because they were allowing way too many runs, which ultimately led to a 31-9 blowout loss in the Super Bowl. However, in basketball, you don't rely on your teammates as much. Even if your teammates are really bad, you can still average 25 to 30 points a game if you're good enough, and those statistics will be enough to boost your card prices. But if the rest of your teammates are playing really poorly as a football player, your statistics game after game after game are going to be pretty bad, and that affects your card prices. So, this combined with the fact that there's only 16 games being played during the NFL season, along with a high injury risk, leads to prices drastically dropping after the first couple of weeks are played in the NFL. So, obviously, this kind of means that the best time to sell is right before the season, correct? Because all across the board, there's going to be guys going up because people are excited about the NFL season, and there's a lot more demand for football cards as a whole right before the season starts. So now that we know when the best time to sell is, we have to figure out what we want to sell. And in my opinion, the 4 guys you should be looking at the most are Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and Tua Tagovailoa. Right? I think I said his name right, finally. I always mess it up. Anyway, the reason that I chose those 4 guys specifically was for a multitude of factors. A, they're all going to be sophomore QBs. This is going to be their second year, and people are going to be excited as to what improvements they can make, and they're going to get super, super hyped up about these second-year QBs. And ultimately, these are the guys that see the most growth before the season starts. We saw it last year with Kyler Murray, Drew Lock, Daniel Jones, even a little bit of Dwayne Haskins and Gardner Minshew, right? So I think that ultimately these guys are going to follow that same trajectory and really see some massive, massive, massive exponential growth right before the season starts. I also chose these guys because their cards are super new, right? Obviously, they were rookies last year, but this means that their cards are going to be relatively easy to grade. They're going to be very clean because they haven't been handled as much. They're not quite as old. So if you buy a lot of these, there's a good chance that they're in pretty good condition, and you can send them to PSA on a 5-day or 20-day and hopefully have a good stash of 10s or 9s before next season actually starts. And, of course, that means that they're going to obviously draw higher prices because they're graded. And the final reason that I chose them specifically was because a lot of times the first guys that go up are the guys that didn't play in the NFL playoffs, and none of these guys did, so that means that they're probably going to see some growth first out of everyone else, before everyone else does, and that means that you should probably try to hop on that bandwagon before everyone else actually gets a chance to. Ultimately, this is just taking advantage of a nice cycle of demand that we commonly see, and is a nice way to make some serious profits. Anyways, it's been Conrad Sports Cards with Boardroom Breakers. I will see you guys next time.